Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuroencoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everyone. Today we have a very special guest, Yayoi Komiyama. I did it. She's a neuroencoding specialist, dual elite neuroencoding specialist, ICF certified coach, Amen health trainer, Maxwell leadership coach, Tony Robbins senior leader, transformational coach, founder of Brain to Belly Facebook and TV show. So you got quite the list there, Yayoi.
I didn't realize that until you said it.
And I get to list everything. So, Yayoi, we know each other, obviously. So why don't you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Hi. So I'm Yayoi Komiyama. I guess my pet project right now is Brain to Belly. I am a dual elite neuroencoding specialist. And that's how I know Michael. I am a firm believer in neuroencoding. I believe that is one of the best ways, and the thought is further faster is one of the slogan or one of the themes of neuroencoding, and I truly believe that further faster can be done with neuroencoding, and that's why I created Brain to Belly as a way of changing people's relationship with food. That's because I myself struggled with my issues with food all my life, most of my life. And I even went through an eating disorder at one point where I binged, I ate a lot, and then I purged it by exercising. I was called an exercise bulimic. And there is something actually that is in that, actual term.
I've never heard that before. Interesting.
Yeah. And I really did go to one of the treatment centers, and they treated me for that. And, it's a lot up here. And I felt like I wasn't worthy of a lot of things. Also, I grew up in two cultures. I grew up in Japan and here in the US. So my identity was a little messy, I guess. It wasn't streamlined.
Right.
And so I've dealt with some bullying in both countries, and then I became the bully myself at one point, and all of that kind of combined, and food became my friend and my foe. And that's when my relationship with food started to get really lopsided, where it was controlling me.
So can I ask you, thank you for sharing, and truly thank you for being vulnerable, right? But that's how we make a difference for people that are listening and people that we care about, is by being vulnerable so that they know, hey, that person understands me, or boy, I get what they're saying, so that making that connection. So thank you for being vulnerable and telling your story. So explain, if we can. I've got a lot of questions. I thought to pick your brain. I wasn't joking.
I know. I was like, okay.
No, you got this for sure. Yeah. So when you go brain to belly, just explain what that means a little bit.
Okay. Yes. So the thinking is that in neuroencoding, we always say what we think about is where our beliefs start by our thoughts, right? And our thoughts create our feelings. And so think, feel, do, and have is what we say in neuroencoding. And I truly believe that is the way with your relationship with food. You think about thoughts about yourself. Like, for instance, in my case, I thought that I wasn't worthy because I was getting bullied all the time. And people would tease me about the way I looked. So the easiest thing for me was, since I felt I didn't belong, I would start eating. And that was my way of comfort. And what I also realized that food was comfort, but it was also a way for me to create this armor of fat to protect my heart so I wouldn't be hurt again.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was kind of like a bad cycle in that way. And I would say I would wear my armor of fat so that people won't attack me. And yes, I would get attention because I was overweight. But then on the other hand, it felt like I was insulated in a lot of
Absolutely.
ways.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely understand that.
yeah.
And with our veterans, I mean, and people, again, it's a human condition, right? And of
Yeah.
course, I'm going to talk about veterans as well. Is we do bury our emotions. We do, go to food,
Yes.
alcohol, drugs, those kinds of things to escape what we're dealing with,
Healing. Yes.
because we feel like we're getting pleasure from that. In fact, we're probably just creating more pain, and
Right.
that whole pain pleasure principle that we talk about.
Yeah.
So when was it that you made a change? What was, as I always tell everybody, you make real change when you find the right leverage
Yeah.
on yourself.
Yeah, so it was years and years of dieting. I did all the crazy diets out there. I did the original Atkins when it first came out. When that was, I was young. Okay, I was young back then.
Don't
Okay.
date yourself.
Yeah, I don't care. The whole world knows at this point. Somebody outed me about my age, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I mean, she's telling this group of people on Zoom, oh, her birthday is this month and this day, and she's going to be this age. And I'm like, okay, fine. Now everyone knows. So I'm like, it's okay. I just turned 60 last year. And yes, it was a big birthday. And, at that point, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Everyone knows already. So
Hey, Yayoi, if you're 60 years old, over now, 60 years old,
yeah.
you're beautiful inside and out, lady. Do not sweat it. I'd be telling people everywhere I'm 60 years old.
Thank you. Thank you. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so so my age is another thing, but that's a different story. But my whole life I've been dieting and trying to figure out, like, of course, so after a while I learned that being a certain way, people didn't accept me as well. So I wasn't being accepted even if I was a normal weight, and now even heavy, people weren't accepting me. So it was this constant battle with dieting and self-image and self-love that I didn't like myself. I always thought I wasn't good enough, that people didn't accept me in Japan and people didn't accept me here because I was, like different, right?
Their perception of what you should be.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it was.
Yeah, because I never fit the mold. And in Japan, there's a saying that the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. And I was always the nail that stuck out. And knowing this personality, you could tell it was the one that stuck out, right?
Fantastic.
So
they just don't know any better.
Yeah. And so, that's kind of like what happened. So it was years and years of dieting and all this and that. I went, and then I learned that, okay, if I didn't eat or if I, ate and then I purged it with exercise, I could. And then eventually I got to a point where I was like, I need help. So I did get help for the exercise bulimic part of me. And then, of course, you're like, okay, I think I'm okay and I'm eating regularly, I think, but then it's kind of getting out of control. And then I realized, I need help. So I went to this very popular wellness place.
Right.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not, so I don't know. But, and actually that really helped me because I went there. I did their program twice before that, right?
Okay.
With different diets and stuff like that. And I did it as a diet.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on it and then off, on it and off. Right. And this time around, I said, let me approach this differently. Let me do this as a way of eating so I can eat like a normal person and live a normal life, because I was at that point where my obsession was food and exercise, food and exercise.
Right. That's your identity.
Yeah,
Really.
that was truly my identity. I had no life other than that. And everything revolved around that. And that was no way to live. And I was feeling like I could feel my heart just being crushed and just my identity being crushed. And I said, I have to get help. So it took me over a year to get to this place. I would walk by it every day. It was right by the train station. I live in New York, so it was right by the train station. So I would see it all the time. And I would go, okay, I'll go. And I would go up the stairs and try to enter, and I couldn't do it. So I would go back. So it took me about a year to get there and to actually walk through the doors and sign myself up and start learning. And what I did was I approached it in the way of a way of living. So I just did what I thought was eat healthy.
Yeah. Like, really quick. I just want to celebrate you walk through the doors.
Yes, thank you. It took me a lot of courage, believe me.
Yes, it takes a lot of courage to ask for help. Truly.
Yeah.
And it's people think, or I'm not gonna say people. As a human race, when we ask for help, it's a weakness, right? I think especially military. It's a weakness to ask for help, and it's one of the most courageous things, the strongest things you can do.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
So you walked through the door.
Yep. And I started working on myself, and I decided to work on more of just, eating healthy, nutrition, thinking about nutrition and how I could do this so that I can live a normal life, whatever normal was at the time. I just thought everyone else was normal and I was abnormal. So,
Right.
So it took me a long time to get there, but it was about learning about myself too. And I said, I'm committed to learning about myself, what my habits are, what's going to work for me, not what's going to work for everyone else, because I wasn't going to do a diet anymore. And I said, diets don't work, and I'm the mentality that diets really don't work.
I think as soon as you say the word diet, it almost doesn't work unless you've conditioned yourself otherwise.
Yeah. And I mean, just the word just makes you feel all icky, right? And so I decided that I was going to devise my own thing that's going to work for me. And I set out on really learning a lot about myself, what my habits were. I know my personality now, that when somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm very rebellious. So I want to do whatever they say I can't do. So somebody says, oh, you can't have chocolate on this diet, or, you can't have sweets. I love sweets. That's all I'm going to think about. So I'm like, no, I can have anything I want. And then I said, okay, also listen to my body, start listening to it and honor it for what it is.
Excellent.
Because, I abused it so much.
Right.
I was like, it's time to kind of like honor it and, respect it.
Yeah. So that's how you really changed your relationship with food then, yes?
Yeah.
It's there to help my body. It's not there just to feed me and give me, instantaneous pleasure, if you will, and release the brain chemicals saying this is a wonderful thing. You have found what works for you.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And, I've been down a very similar journey, not to the extent you have, but, yo-yoed on different weight loss things. I started doing a keto thing before keto was like keto. I did research and was like, I'm going to try doing this, but, eating all the cheeses back then and all that stuff doesn't work. So, I've done that as well until I literally changed the relationship with food. I can eat things. I'm watching my weight to some extent. I'm not watching a scale every day.
No.
And, I'm down that 40 or 50 pounds still. I don't know exactly. So I'm not weighing myself in, multiple weeks, but I'm living and I'm enjoying the food.
Yeah.
I'm eating, it's really interesting how when you change your relationship with food, instead of putting on 6 tablespoons of blue cheese dressing in a jar with all the stuff that's in it and some simple orange juice and maybe a little honey in it is the best dressing you've ever tasted. What?
I know. And it's funny because yeah, your taste buds change and then you're like, I really want to taste food. I don't
Hmm.
want to taste the processed stuff. And a part of me feels like my body deserves the good stuff, you know?
Hmm.
I deserve the good stuff. And it's also about self-worth, and that's coming from here.
Amen.
And like I hate to say this, but when I'm like when I was in the office and sometimes I would be like I didn't plan to work overtime or whatever, there are vending machines up there. And vending machines never have healthy stuff in there. It's always chips and chocolates and whatever.
There's no apples and bananas, and
Hell no. Right? Oh, sorry.
you're good.
and,
You're
and
good.
so I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, I'll have some chocolate because I'm stressing out. I want to finish this so I could get home, but I'm hungry. So and the only good chocolate there is like M&Ms, and I hate M&Ms. You know, I'm like, I'm not going to waste my calories or points on M&Ms, right? But that's the only thing. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll have it. And I'm eating this, and I'm like, I finished the bag, and I'm like, what the blank am I doing? Like, this is so stupid. And so, like, I've decided that, what I should do is spend money on good quality chocolate. So I started getting good quality chocolate and I would have it with me. And that way, first of all, it's expensive. So I'm not going to eat it like just like that, right?
M&Ms.
Yeah, M&Ms maybe, but it's what you value. It's where your value is. And I started valuing what I put in my body. So I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to spend my calories, my energy on chocolate, I'm going to spend it on good chocolate. So I'd go to the chocolatier and I'd get my chocolate and savor it, and it would be really, really good. And I'd enjoy it. And then I wouldn't crave it more either.
And that's very, very smart. Love that. So I have found the same is if you have it in your head, it's like, yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah, that sounds really good. That sounds really good. And you're focused on it, right?
Yep.
Do a little, get it out of your system, do it as healthy as you can.
Yep.
And I call that a treat meal, not a cheat meal.
Yeah.
A treat meal,
Yeah.
whether that be a snack or it be, a meal. It gets all of the I'm cheating on myself, if you will, because that is who you are,
Yeah.
if you do stuff like that and just I'm treating myself. And
Exactly.
it changes the thought process.
Yeah. And I don't like the word, and I don't like it when people say they're cheating on their diet because you're not cheating. No, don't say that and don't cheat yourself.
You're making a different choice.
Yeah, you're making a better choice for yourself and you're honoring you. And it's really about self-respect and self-love. And one of the things I've learned on this journey, and especially through neuroencoding, is to really love myself. And that's when the real serenity and the peace came within me, is when I was able to start doing the mirror exercise. That's one of the principles of neuroencoding. And at first I was like, are you serious? Am I supposed to actually look in the mirror and say my name and say, I love you? And I'm like, I can't say that. That's icky, right?
You know what's funny is there are so many people that struggle with it.
Yeah,
Because
I
please
do.
explain the exercise. I mean, basically,
Okay.
well, go ahead, please.
Basically, it's first thing in the morning if you can. When you're at the mirror, look into your eyes, take a deep breath, smile at yourself, and say your name and say, I love you. And it sounds simple. And now I can do it without a problem. But at the time, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I can't say that. First of all, I'm going to look in the mirror and smile at myself. What the F, right? And like, at first I was like, no, I can't do this. And then, but I was like, okay, if everyone's saying, and my mentor saying, Joseph McClendon, my mentor, is saying, do it, and it does actually work. So I was like, okay, I'll try it, right? And so at first I was like laughing at myself and say, hey, I can't do this. And then I'm like, okay, I just smiled and I said, right? Right? And I'm like, okay, I like you, And I started off like that. And slowly,
Yeah.
I was able to start saying, Yayoi, I love you. And I also imagined saying it to someone I really love or care about,
Hmm.
being in the reflection, not me, but at the time I said, let me just do it like I'm pretending. I don't have any kids. I am a pet mama and I love my baby, doggy a lot. So I pretended I was talking to her.
Got it.
And I said, let me just start with that and slowly build up to it. And eventually I was able to get to the point where I was able to say it without, cringing or saying it was silly, because it's not.
Yeah, and congratulations for getting
Thank you.
there. Again, people don't realize little baby steps. You make that 2% change
Yes.
of steer. You get on that ship or a boat, 2% change, and you end up in a whole different destination.
Yeah.
In a destination you choose, which is
Exactly.
fantastic. So I want to just add, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
And it's a fantastic exercise. It's one of the core components that I have my clients do, and I do it.
Me
I
too.
do it all the time. I
Me
mean,
too.
it's important, and it's funny when you're doing it. Not funny, ha ha. Funny, odd when you first start doing it, but once you do it and you look yourself truly in the eyes and you feel it in your soul,
Yeah.
it changes the game.
It-
And then the beautiful thing is, then you add on to that mirror exercise,
Yes.
things
Yes.
that you're playing with,
Yes.
working with, etc. So
Yeah.
it's a great exercise. That's why I wanted you to go through it. So thank you. Appreciate it.
No, that's my core. That I teach that to all of my clients as well, because it starts there, and brain to belly actually starts there, because
Fantastic.
it starts with self-love,
Fantastic.
and it's the most difficult thing to do. And
It's
yeah,
shocking how many people struggle with it. I did it very quickly, but clients, I have a lot of clients, friends that struggle doing it, and
yeah,
you do little baby steps just like you did.
yeah.
Just like you did. So fantastic. Hey, so let us talk about your thinking and your belief systems determine who you become. Can we talk about that just for a
Sure,
minute?
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, your belief systems really do, and your thoughts. I mean, thoughts are powerful things, and again, I'm going to refer to my mentor, and he always says where focus goes is where energy flows. So, it's really true. And if you think about it, what you focus on is actually what you're seeing and what comes to you. So, for instance, let's say you bought a new car, and it's in your favorite color. Let's say it was, I don't know, for me, it's like teal or whatever, right? So I had a teal car, and then you start noticing so many teal cars out there, and you're like, oh, I never really noticed that. That's only because you're focusing on that. There have
Right.
always been the same number of cars out there that are the same color. You just
Right.
notice that more. And I think it's with everything else, even with food, right? And so your belief systems create who you are. So if, like, for instance, when I was younger, I felt that I wasn't good enough, that
Mhm.
nobody loved me because I looked a certain way. Maybe it was because I was Asian and I lived here, or when I was in Japan and I was tainted by being American, right? Because I lived here in the US. And but I believed that. And I
Yeah.
believed that I was the nail that stuck out, that
Yeah.
needed to be hammered down.
Absolutely. So be careful on your thoughts,
Definitely. It's
because
yeah,
good and bad, they affect.
yeah,
We call it your BS system, your belief system, right?
yes,
But really,
exactly.
just really pay attention to those thoughts. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Because they really do shape your reality of.
yeah,
There's a reason why that's the name of the podcast.
yes,
So thank you for sharing that.
of course.
So let's talk about your exciting ventures, if we can, just for a second. You
Okay.
have your Brain to Belly Face group. Can we talk about that? What's going on in there?
Sure.
What's it for? Why do you do
Yeah.
it? And of course, your TV show, because they kind of work
Okay.
together.
Kind of, yeah, tie in together. Well, I started the Facebook group because I I've always felt that I wanted to help people that are going through the weight issue journey or the body image, self-image journey, because a lot of people struggle with it.
Mhm.
And I've worked in the wellness industry for 20 something years as well as a part-time thing for a long time. And I've seen so many people struggling with doing a diet, learning things as a diet, they're either on or off,
Right.
thinking that food is either good or bad when it isn't. It's a neutral thing. And so I was like, I want a place where people can be there as themselves without judgment. So I don't, I'm really opposed. Like, if you're a bully, forget it. If you're in my group and you start bullying someone, I'm sorry, Mama Bear is going to come out and she's going to say, get the blank out of here, right?
Well,
And
I'm glad I haven't been kicked out. It's a
so,
fantastic Facebook group.
yeah. And I don't engage anyone that, I'm not going to even engage anyone that's going to make nasty comments. I'll just ignore it or I'll delete it. But and that's the way I feel about a lot of things in life these days. But and I wanted a place where people could come so that they can share their struggles and their triumphs in their relationship with food. Because I think a lot of people, just even the general public, we all have some sort of hang up with food. You know, a lot of people don't want to admit it, which is fine, and but just to be aware, or even just to create that awareness. That's why I thought I'd start this group, because I mean, brain to belly is kind of catchy. And it's also like, it really focuses on what I really want to say, is that your thoughts are really going to control how you feel and what you're going to put in your mouth.
Absolutely.
So if you're feeling crappy about yourself, and sometimes I do feel crappy about myself, and I slide back into that old me, and I slide back into that black hole,
You're saying you're human?
Yes, I'm totally human, of course.
But with neuroencoding, the beautiful thing about neuroencoding, everyone, is we condition ourselves and we train other people to default back to our best selves.
Yes.
With simple hacks, if you will. I call them hacks all the time, but
they are
simple tricks of the trade, if you will.
Yeah.
So fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And guys, it is a fantastic group. So, please join. So I have a couple of questions because we've had so much fun here that we kind of went
all over the place.
Went past the time of other stuff. Oh no, we're fine. We're fine.
Okay.
I own the show. We're fine.
Okay.
No, but we got on some really good, real conversation. That's why I tell everybody this is very organic. It just happened. None of this is scripted or anything else. So question for you, and we'll kind of go through these. How do you know? Because I think they're important questions. How do you know when you have a problem with your food relationship?
Just be honest with yourself.
Yes.
Take out all the BS, literally. Listen to your heart. If you're cringing all the time, if you're feeling like your heart's being restricted, your mind's being restricted, you can't be yourself, you have a problem. And even if it's not a big problem, at least be aware of it and do something about it.
Love it. Love it. Very good. And I agree 100%. It's,
Yeah,
if you're going,
when you lie.
If you're going, oh, I need to do this, or I shouldn't do this, and I shouldn't eat this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, be honest with yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's a hard thing to do, but just try it.
Absolutely. So here's the question here. With all of the information and food supplements and diets, and how do you know what's real or I'm going to simplify this, what will work for you?
Okay, that's a really tough question. I would say that what works for you is something that is different for each person, because, each person has a different personality. One thing that works for me is not necessarily going to work for somebody else.
Absolutely.
And I always say one size doesn't fit all. I wish it would, but, it doesn't. And that's why there's so many things out there. But I would say nutrition is one thing you really need to learn about. Like, what are carbohydrates? What are proteins? What is fiber? 5 fruits and vegetables. There's a reason that everyone says, get your 5 fruits and vegetables in a day. And I keep on repeating this all the time everywhere I go, but I read a study that said that only 1 in 10 Americans have their 5 fruits and vegetables every day.
Wow.
That's sad.
Wow.
That's really sad. And I think it's worse in the UK, but they said 10% of the population.
Wow. That's crazy.
It is.
I mean, I love my wife. When we first got together, we've been married almost 20 years now, and she loves me.
Make it so.
So she always used to be like, "You're so good with your fruits and vegetables. You love vegetables." Because that would be the first thing off my plate.
Wow.
So to hear that people don't eat them, it's shocking to me.
It's sad. And a lot of foods, well, I've also noticed that like in Europe and in Asia, the fruits and vegetables here don't taste the same as things there. I think there are many things that are added here, and I understand commercialism and all of that, but sometimes try an organic fruit for once and see how it really tastes, because sometimes it does taste different. Like even a cucumber tasted different. That was like one of my things when I came here to the US. I love cucumbers and I love the Japanese cucumbers. Mm-hmm. So I came here and thinking, I want a cucumber. And I bought an American cucumber. Boy, did it taste different.
Yeah, and I've had family and so on that went to Germany and spent time there, and they're like, the cheeses, the breads, everything is so much different than it is here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. So thank you for sharing that information as well. So Yayoi,
yes,
3 quick tips. 3 quick tips, and you can reuse whatever you need to do, but 3 quick tips on how to get veterans and their families, kids, eating healthy, changing their food habits to better serve themselves.
I would say, well, one thing is definitely get your water in, because a lot of us are always dehydrated and we mistake dehydration for hunger. Mm-hmm. So try to, even if it's like once every hour, try to drink a little bit. If you're thirsty, that means you're already dehydrated. So that's a tip. That's one tip. The second tip I would say is awareness. Be aware of what you're putting in your body. I'm not saying be all healthy, because that's impossible to do. But be aware of what's going in. Look at food labels. If there's so many, if like the first ingredient is sugar, probably not a good idea. If you could get something that's like and if you can do the fruits and vegetables, please try to do it. There are lots of recipes out there for, that you could get creative with. And sometimes just take one, maybe with your kids, go to the grocery store, find a fruit or vegetable that looks interesting and try it. One fruit or vegetable a week or once a month, experiment with something new. And get your whole family involved in it. That might be a fun project to do.
Yeah, I love that. It would be cool too, just jumping on that bandwagon, is learn about the nutrition in that fruit or that vegetable or that food.
Yeah.
So that you're learning about the macros and all of those different things and fibers and all the things, you're talking about would be great as well.
Yeah.
So excellent tips. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So how do people get a hold of Yayoi?
Yes. Well, you can go to my Facebook group. That would be the easiest to find. I think there's only one Brain to Belly Facebook group, and you can find me there. And I'm going to take out my lightsaber chopsticks just because I wanted to show it to everyone because I'm crazy about it.
So what I was thinking about this earlier, but you're talking. I didn't want to interrupt.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that each one of those lightsabers really is your different thought processes.
True.
Battling each other.
Yes.
For good and evil.
Yes. Yes.
So make sure the good one wins.
Yes. And be good to yourself, really. And hey, have fun, because life is about having fun and laughing.
Amen.
And these are, help me to keep laughing and having fun. So.
Amen. I love it. All right, everybody. So I just want to remind everybody there is the blue QR code symbol at the top right corner there. Scan it. Yeah, over there. The top right corner. Scan it. There's all kinds of veteran resources, books, all kinds of good stuff in there. So please check that out. And Yayoi, I just, time is the most precious resource we have as humans. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. I so appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been fantastic. I've enjoyed every minute of it. Everybody, we are out of here.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.